good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to our Open Up Live Talk session. My name is Dipchand Ramcharitar, and I'm the Outreach and Development Coordinator at Voice of Men 360. Voice of Men 360 is a non-profit organization founded in 2020 and based in London, Ontario, Canada. Voice of Men 360 was born out of seeing a tremendous need and stepping up to provide services to help support and overcome men and boys' life challenges. We are part of International Men's Day. International Men's Day has been serving for over 21 years, and so far 90 countries around the world joined together and doing various activities regularly. International Men's Day follows six pillars, which is the overall well being of boys and men. We follow in the same footsteps. Before we introduce our very special guest today, I would like to run through our disclaimer. We would like to remind you that Voice of Men 360's mission is always delivered with good faith towards peaceful harmony. The views and opinions expressed in today's episode are those of our speakers and do not necessarily represent Voice of Men 360. Our organization engages in discussion forums to offer inspiration and create awareness of the issues of men who wish to overcome their life challenges. We are not providing medical or therapeutic advice. Should you require that type of assistance, we recommend you contact a medical professional immediately. If you have any questions or concerns about today's episode or any Voice of Men 360 content, please email us at info@voiceofmen360.org. Well, here we are, live and kicking with a very exciting guest today, Vivek Mehmi, and he's a hip hop artist. He has a very ambitious organization as well, and let him actually tell you more about his story. So, welcome to the show, Vivek.
Hi, Dipchand. Can you hear me okay? We're good?
Loud and clear, loud and clear.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, well, thank you for being here. And let's start right off. Can you give us some background as to what led you to where you are today?
Yeah, I think if I went through my whole story, we'd be here for a couple of days. So I'll give you the abbreviated version of it all. But specifically, what led me here on my music and healing journey was a health crisis, Dipchand. Yeah, I was in a very intense health crisis that started back as early as 2010, where I was misdiagnosed with a liver disease. And at that point, I had a long period of depression after that misdiagnosis because I was told I would need a liver transplant, and the outlook and the outcome wasn't very favorable. So after that point, I got sent to a more specialized clinic. They redid all the tests downtown Toronto, and they found out I didn't have this liver disease. And after that's point, I was like, I didn't really know what to make of my life because I still obviously had some physical pain, and I knew something wasn't right with my body. But here you have the medical system telling me, no, you're fine, go ahead on your way. And that was in 2010, 2011. So fast forward to 2014, and at that point, after I got cleared of that misdiagnosis, I went back to a typical, I guess, mid-20-year-old lifestyle, which was at that point for me not extremely healthy. I partied on weekends, drinking, recreational drugs and things. And 2014, that's when I really had the health crisis begin. I woke up one day, I felt like I got hit with a truck, and I couldn't, no amount of caffeine, nothing like that could really help. And eventually I developed this full body skin rash, and it kept getting worse from head to toe from 2014 all the way to the end of 2015. And you name it, Dipchand, I tried every modality of, medicine or healing.
I can imagine.
Yeah, from naturopaths to dermatology to Ayurvedic, traditional Chinese medicine, and nothing helped until I found a functional doctor. Anyhow, that's a little bit of the background. I eventually had this roller coaster healing trajectory, and during that point, when I couldn't piece things together with the health system, I really turned to music as therapy, as healing. A lot of my lyric writing comes in the form of therapy. And that's basically it.
Yeah, well, you've certainly had your sorry, of ups and downs. I mean, you've battled your way through, and you've come through as a beacon of light for so many of the younger people out there. So kudos to you. You've done a fantastic job.
Thank you.
And that leads me on to my next question, which is, let us talk about present day Vivek.
Right. Yeah. So, like I mentioned, I did a lot of healing through the music, and I've gotten to a point where I'm not in as terrible of a situation. I still have my days. I still have certain things that obviously are not where I want them to be yet. But I've also found, not just through the music, but also giving back to communities in need, I've been able to heal myself as well. So it's kind of nice. By healing other people, you can heal yourself. By sharing your story, sharing your music, sharing your vulnerabilities, your emotional connection, your spiritual connection, just all these things have really helped me delve deeper into my purpose, help me connect to my passions and my purpose. And I want to help other people uncover their passions, their purpose, help them heal, help them understand the emotional connection with themselves. And I do a lot of that work through obviously the releases that I do, but I also do speaking engagements and workshops where it can be people of all ages, artists, students, and we have a really, really good creative session. And then we also do performances. So I perform, I host events through my organization, Humble and Hungry. And lately we've done work in the mental health communities. I'm part of an organization called Workman Arts, which is an amazing organization and the members are people with lived experience of mental health issues or challenges, I should say, or addictions. And so I try to connect with those organizations and Unison Benevolent Fund and other organizations that are doing good work and combining art and music and health. So that's where I'm at now. I have a vision. We were talking before the session that I had a vision to, take this to not just performances, but to schools, right? Because you can combine the talking element with the performance. So it's a best of both worlds, right? Entertainment and information and things that are going to push that needle forward, push important priorities forward,
Yeah, I think as we had when we spoke a couple of days ago, I had mentioned to you it might not be a bad idea to get involved with the schools, see what the Board of Education think about you going there and sending a positive message, because you're in a niche where I think a lot of younger people would be attracted to what you have to say. And so you have that opportunity to really make a mark on younger people, because they've sadly been led astray by, unfortunately, some of the more popular artists out there. I guess that's where the money is, so that's where they go. But Young minds being so malleable, it's not working out well for them. So this gives you an opportunity to get that positive message out there and to really drive home the point that we all need to have balance in our lives. And when we're younger, it's about probably the best time to start doing that. So that this gives you that opportunity to do that. So I'm happy to hear that you also have your organization Humble and Hungry. And what kind of feedback are you getting from members of the public regarding your organization?
Yeah, thanks for asking. So Humble and Hungry started kind of just before the pandemic, and the idea for it is it started originally as an opportunity for artists to showcase their work, to get a platform where, there's a hard time for artists to get performance opportunities. So we tried to get some unrecognized, under recognized artists who are talented and have really positive energy and want to contribute to our mission of social consciousness and bringing positive vibes to our events. And so that's how it started. And then the pandemic hit. So we started doing things online. And then we just got back to it over the last 2 years. And the idea is to stay rooted, grounded, but the desire to grow and to spread positive. So that the humble and hungry aspect of it. And we've been really blessed with the last event we did, which was in Streetsville Square. It was our first ever music festival.
Right.
And we had a very diverse lineup of different genres, but the idea was to raise awareness for mental wellness. And we did a great job. That we didn't get to as many people as we wanted to, but the feedback that we got from the artists had experiences like, I've never been part of something like this. And they realized that we were offering a healing event for not just them, but the public as well. So we got some great feedback. It's just a matter of collaborating, connecting with like-minded organizations to get the message out there. Unfortunately, we chose a day that it was the same time when the Canadian exhibition downtown was opening. So
Not
it
good
wasn't,
timing.
yeah, it was tough. But that's events, you're gonna run into that. But at the end of the day, the people who were there really benefited.
Yeah, well, there's no perfect time. I mean, like, given the way how society is structured today, especially in a metropolitan busy place like Toronto, you are
Yeah.
always going to have clashes. So you make the best of what you have to offer. And from what you're telling me, obviously, that ties into my question I was about to ask. How does the masses benefit from what you have to offer out there, especially the young men? And it seems that that's exactly what's happening now with the collaboration of your fellow artists. It seems that you guys are driving home that message and you're getting people to fall into that. So that's excellent work. Yeah,
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so
yeah.
much.
Oh, you're more than welcome. So moving on, what are some of the more challenging issues facing young men in our society today, and how do you see those as best being addressed?
Yeah, I think it's there's like we could have like a whole segment on this, but the first
We
thing
have
that
4 minutes.
4 minutes. Okay, yeah, I remember. I saw it. We gotta keep it concise here. I think the first thing that comes to mind is social media, and I think it's such a hard landscape to navigate. Me as an adult who's trying to post things and content and stuff, even I get sucked down like this rabbit hole and get misaligned easily. So I think what we need is more authentic communication and positive social media influencers for young men, and just also to be aware that what you might see on these channels, it might not be a reality, right? Even though some channels they try to make it organic and authentic. But where we can have an opportunity is to help the youth, help adults cultivate this awareness, so they're able to discern, their own truth, and feel like, oh, okay, this doesn't feel good in my gut, what I'm seeing, or it doesn't align with my values or my core principles. And that comes from doing a lot of inner work. That comes from connecting emotionally with yourself, and teaching the youth and people how to not be afraid of your emotions, and how to channel your emotions constructively. And that comes through having a great support system, having great teachers who, again, when you tune into yourself and you say, because let's face it, the youth have tons of teachers, but you have to be able to discern if, like, what this teacher is teaching me is like, does this feel right for me? And, be able to sit with that and understand that process. So for me, I think that's what I would love to work with, is being able to connect and help people find that understanding and inner knowing, inner truth, because sometimes it's hard to discern and navigate through.
Yes, that's very true. One of the issues with that learning process for the younger people is sadly the alarming amount of fatherless homes that they come from, and there is no male figure to guide them through. And statistically, that's a disaster for younger people. It's been shown time and time in different demographics, different countries, different statuses, whatever you have, that without a father figure to guide an individual, obviously the mother is very important in the process, but without that father figure to guide them through the disciplinary actions and whatnot, a lot of them have fallen by the wayside. You have more of them ending up incarcerated, more of them on the streets, homeless, drug users, and everything negative that befalls them because of this. Obviously, it's not the only factor, but it's a major factor. So that's something that needs to be addressed at all costs.
Absolutely. And a further point I had to your question, you're asking about, I think to me, like, one of the things that I've had to go through is I've had to learn what you're talking about, like, the hard way in some ways. And I know we have another question about that, but it's like, I've had to really learn from hard situations. And I think finding a way to be resourceful, having people who can share wisdom on resilience and overcoming hardships, and people who become compassionate out of the hardships that they've gone through, are the people we need to champion and build up and give platforms. And I think, if anything I've learned in the last 3 years from the pandemic is, and that's something that I talk about in my new song, Garage Sale, is like, sometimes it's hard for these systems that govern us to have all of our best interests at heart, right? We're so individual and we're so unique in our needs that we can fall through the cracks. And whether that's mental health, whether that's through, like, race issues or socially political issues, these things are happening. And we need to champion people who are in tune and are connected and can help other people find that within themselves. So that's my message. I hope that answers your question.
It does. It does. The thing is, society has progressed through evolution by trial and error and other means of getting here. And sometimes it's worked out well, and sometimes it's been a disaster. But we have to be pushing forward. We have to look for ways and means to better ourselves, and promote and look at the younger generation, and really narrow down on how best we can help them move forward. So people like yourself, people like us, we are here to try and do our part in realizing this. And,
Sure.
we have to keep at it regardless of whatever challenges might be out there. So again, you're doing a fantastic job with all what you have going on for you.
Appreciate
And
it.
I must say, I'm very excited about what you have to offer coming up in the future. So this
Thank
is
you.
more of a personal question.
Yeah.
And what kind of relationship did you have with your dad growing up, and how has that impacted your adult life?
Yes. So it really ties into a lot of things that we've been talking about right now. The relationship, I would say it was very methodical, a technical based relationship,
Right,
supportive out of like duty, to, as like a father should be doing this. And I'm super thankful for that. I had a lot of my needs met on the physical and things of that nature. So I'm beyond thankful that I had that. And obviously he loves me, I love him. But these things I speak of, there was a lot of um, parts that were not really emotionally connected in the in the in the past. I was really not shown how to process my emotions healthy in a healthy way. So I naturally got into trouble. I naturally uh, got tough lessons. I learned things the hard way, and it took a lot of work for me to understand how to channel my emotions, work within communities, work with teachers and masters that could guide me, and also the communication. Again, my dad, a very loving person, but the communication and the support from that side of things was almost non-existent. It was not there. It was tough. And that's why I want to do this kind of work, because I learned the hard way sometimes.
so would you say that your relationship with your dad was sort of you didn't have the best back and forth discussions? Were you able to express your views to him without fear of repercussions? Because the reason I ask you that is we kind of grew up that way. We weren't supposed to question anything. We would just have to hold back our stuff, and obviously that's not the healthiest approach for a young person. So I don't know if you had the same upbringing. My way of looking at it is that the people in that position thought that was the best way to deal with the situation. It wasn't. So I don't hold that against anybody. I'm just saying that
Right.
it's not the healthiest, especially in today's world, way to bring up a child.
100%. I agree. Yeah, that was similar, very similar. And I think it could be a combination of cultural things. Um, my parents were immigrants, right? I'm first generation Canadian, and
Right,
that there's a lot of challenges, right? In learning a new culture for an immigrant, and also trying to parent, right?
right.
Both new things.
Yes.
So, I mean, trying to adapt and trying to foster and cultivate a healthy relationship could be challenging for some immigrants. So, um, again, like you said, no, it's made me the person I am today. So I have nothing but love, and I'm thankful on many levels, right?
Yeah, same here. I've experienced a similar thing to you. Was there anything in particular you that stood out about your dad, when he raised you?
Um, well, one of the things I guess I could say, right, is my dad was an engineer, uh,
Okay.
like a nuclear engineer, and my mother my mom was a doctor.
Okay.
And so me going down this route of being creative, being performance based, being a speaker, being something of that nature, I don't know if it was looked down upon. Not that. I think it was just they didn't know how to cultivate or how to support me in my gifts and talents. So
Yeah.
further to your earlier question, I think it's important for parents or role models, counselors, for them to really be in tune with the youth's talents and gifts, and try to, just, it just takes a little bit of perception. But like I mentioned, if you are new to the country, or if you've got challenges adapting, it's going to be harder to pay that much more attention, right? And just be
Yeah,
like, we're
true.
going to let the school system take care of it. Let's let them do what they do, right?
Yeah, because it's really hard for parents who come up with such prestigious positions like engineers and doctors and stuff to watch their kids go into the creative arts field. I think they might be very reluctant to give their stamp of approval for that. But you've made your decision, and hopefully they can understand that. And the bottom line is, you know. You're doing the best thing that you can, and great stuff going on
Thank
there. Now, I think there is a question coming up. How important is it for South Asian men to open up, seek help, and have an open discussion about their mental challenges, especially for the younger ones nowadays?
Again, I think regardless of the community, the culture, I think I can only speak on my experience, right? As a first generation Canadian, and
Right.
I think it's just, and I don't, and it sounds like from talking to you as well that you've had a similar kind of, you see some similarities in what I'm saying. So
A
maybe
bit.
maybe
Yes.
maybe there, that is a cultural thing. So I think it's important. Um, if you see someone in your community, if you're part of a South Asian community, or if you're part of a cultural community, and you can develop a rapport and you can develop some sort of trust, I think it's important to be able to find someone that you can just share your heart with. I mean, it can be a friend who's, the same skin color as you, or same cultural background as you, and you can just, be open, and with no judgment. I think one of the
Right.
things too is we fear judgment, right? We fear,
Right.
oh, if I say how I'm really feeling, someone's gonna not want to be my friend, or someone's not going to want to associate with me. And that takes a lot of courage to open up. It takes a lot of courage,
Exactly.
and we, I think finding someone in that community that you can open up to, and it sounds, like you're doing an amazing job, Voice of Men 360, and there's people in this community that uh, that can be available and reached out to if anyone needs to connect. I'm sure, and likewise with me as well. And
Yeah. Well, thank you for your kind words about our organization, and we put our best foot forward. We're out there helping the masses. I always like to emphasize the point that we're primarily for men and boys, but we don't turn our backs on anybody. And so we join people like yourself in this fight to bring some sort of reprieve, some sort of hope, especially for the disadvantaged people out there. So we're running out of time. Before I get to the last question, I have a little more information about our group. There are no limitations to gender, age, nationality, or ethnic group. All walks of life can participate in any of our shows. If you want to be a guest on any of our shows, or willing to be part of our organization and help us directly or indirectly, please reach out to us. We would love to work with individuals, professionals, experts, community organizations, associations, corporations, government officials, and businesses. Our phone number is 226 289 8784. Our email address is info@voiceofmen360.org. Our website is www.voiceofmen360.org. And you can find us on all sorts of social media, Facebook. Please join our group so you can see our daily activities. Please invite your friends as well. Other social media platforms we're on: Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, and TikTok. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Voice of Men 360. So we're pretty much at the end of this short but sweet session. And uh, the last question I have for you is, Vivek, can you share some contact information for anyone wanting to learn more about your work?
Absolutely. So you can see my name there at Vivek Mehmi. That's my handle on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and I'm also on TikTok at Vivek Mehmi Music. If you go to vivekmehmi.com, you'll get like all the information. I also have a newsletter there in the contact section that you can stay up to date with me and some of the events that I'm producing, the music, of course, the collaborations and interviews such as this one. And yeah, that's basically it.
Okay, well, there we go. It's been an inspiring session. If anything, I must say that I enjoyed this thoroughly. We have been speaking, ladies and gentlemen, with Vivek Mehmi, hip hop artist who also runs an organization called Humble and Hungry, giving artists exposure and resources to grow. I should also mention, I don't think I did this before, that he won a People's Choice Award for a video called Rubik's Cube. So congratulations, Vivek. And again, thank you so very much for being on the program.
Thank you for having me, Dipchand. Really a pleasure.
You're more than welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, we have at the end of our program, I want to say to everyone, thank you so much for joining us today. I wish you the best. Good evening, good morning, good night, wherever you may be.